This is the largest coincidence in history. See if your history teacher can explain this. Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John F. Kennedy was elected to Congress in 1946. Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. John F. Kennedy was elected president in 1960. Both were particularly concerned with civil rights. Both wives lost a child while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. Both presidents were shot in the head. Now it gets really weird. Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners named Johnson. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born in 1908. John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, was born in 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, was born in 1939. Both assassins were known by their three names. Both names are composed of 15 letters. Now hang on to your seat. Lincoln was shot at the theater named Ford. Kennedy was shot in a car called Lincoln Made by Ford. Booth and Oswald were assassinated before their trials. And here's the kicker. A week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland. A week before Kennedy was shot, he was with Marilyn Monroe. And Lincoln was shot in a theater, and the assassin ran to a warehouse. Kennedy was shot from a warehouse, and the assassin ran to a theater.
Coincidence? Yes, it is a coincidence. This Kennedy-Lincoln coincidence extravaganza thing actually was first published in January of 1964. So pretty much immediately after Kennedy was assassinated, somebody came out with this, look at all these coincidences, isn't this amazing? So is it amazing? Is this something that we should be surprised at? If you take any two big, historical events, there's going to be thousands, probably really millions of details associated with those historical events. At the very least, there's going to be thousands of ones that are obvious and big. And then if you look for correlations between those thousands or tens of thousands or whatever of individual details, you're going to find alignment. You should be surprised if you can't find any coincidences. There's a couple of ways that make a couple of things that make this seem more amazing than it is. One is the fact that there's a little bit of cheating going on too. So the people who are trying to promote the coincidences as being amazing are fudging. So, for example, John Wilkes Booth was born in 1838, not 1839. So they got the year wrong. And Marilyn Monroe died in 1962. So she couldn't have met with JFK a week before he was killed in 1963. So especially if you're willing to fudge a little bit, you could make a lot more coincidences. But even that aside, a lot of the other ones are correct. Yes, Kennedy's secretary was called Lincoln, and Lincoln's was called Kennedy. So what? But the thing is, why? So the other big thing that makes these coincidences seem more impressive than they actually are is something we call the lottery fallacy. And that is you're asking the wrong question in a way. So you could, if somebody wins a lottery where there's a 1,000,000,000 chance that of any particular ticket winning, and you say, wow, what are the odds that guy won the lottery? And it had to be 1,000,000,000. It's like, yeah, but you're asking the wrong question. The real question is, what are the odds that anybody won the lottery? Not that this one particular person won the lottery. Yes, it's very unlikely that this particular person won the lottery, but it's very likely that somebody somewhere won the lottery. In the same way, you could ask, not what are the odds that they would have had secretaries that had the other president's name. That's not the question. The question is, what are the odds that you could find anything that seems to match between these two presidents? Why secretary? Why the secretary? Why wasn't it, I don't know, any member of their cabinet or their vice president or anyone else who worked in the 1,000 people who worked in their administration, or anyone that they were related to? Why was it that their wife lost a child in the White House? Why that detail? There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just random facts that you are scouring out of again, thousands and thousands of potential facts, and then finding alignments and then fudging a couple to make it seem more impressive than it actually is. It's basically one giant exercise in anomaly hunting and, statistically speaking, in the lottery fallacy. It's actually not that amazing when you back up and look at it in the proper context. And of course, what's the implication here? This is a jacking off, just asking questions kind of thing where you're saying, look at this, isn't it amazing? I have zero explanation for it. I'm just mystery mongering, right? I'm just anomaly hunting, trying to find things that appear superficially to be amazing and throwing out the implication that, well, something is going on. Of course, if you read the comments to that particular video, and you never know if people are being serious or not, but a lot of people saying, that's because we all live in the Matrix and it's all being scripted and written. It's like, okay, yeah, if you're going to believe in absolute abject pseudoscientific fantasy, then yeah, then maybe this kind of thing is interesting. But there, of course, is no mechanism. There is no reason why the historical events are being manipulated or controlled in such a way to make this happen. That's just pure magical thinking. It's just math. This is what you would expect. It's not a big deal that you could find a bunch of alignments if you have many, many, many potential alignments to choose from. It's what we actually expect to be the case. Also, you could ask the question, well, why this is again another aspect of the lottery fallacy, why these two historical events? Somebody notices maybe a coincidence between, like Kennedy and Lincoln, and then they look for more. So it wasn't that these events were even necessarily chosen at random. For example, they were like, you noticed the anomaly first, and then you try to make something out of it. So that's kind of a Texas sharpshooter fallacy. This is why, by the way, like when you do scientific research, you can't include your original observations in the data you use to test the hypothesis, because if you're just noticing a coincidence or a fluky outcome, you don't want to carry that fluky outcome forward. Anyway, this is all just, we file this under innumeracy. People have a poor intuition of the law of large numbers, of statistics, whatever. It makes things that are very ordinary and predictable seem like unbelievable coincidences that require some kind of magical explanation for them. They don't.